September 1st, 1939, Nazi Germany invades Poland. This was the start to what would become World War II. So where did the Third Reich get the confidence to make such a bold move? Well, what if Hitler made a deal with the devil? A deal to ensure his victory and dominance. I sit down with author Scott Baker to discuss his new book, which explores this idea. Sit tight. Welcome to the Book Asylum. I'm Dungeon Dan, and today we have Scott Baker, and we are going to talk about many subjects, but specifically the new book that's getting ready to come out, I think, next month?
September 1st.
Yep, September 1st. It's entitled OSS, which is?
Office of Supernatural Services. It's a Nazi occult book. It's pretty much the Nazis decide to use, they cut a deal with Satan to win World War II and ensure the 1,000-year Reich. And it's the story of the Nazis trying to do this and several Allied intelligence officers trying to stop them.
And so much more.
And people who are World War II historians will get the reason why I chose September 1st as the release date for the book.
Okay, I didn't get it, but I'm still new into it.
That was the date that Hitler invaded Poland and started World War II.
Oh, okay, I don't know how you feel about this, but I got the beta read, so I know what's in this book, and there was some oh fuck moments. I've read damn near everything you've written, and it just seems like every time you come up with a new book, you're just jumping above what you did in the last one. You're welcome. I thought Ghost of Treblinka was, did I say that right?
Treblinka, yeah.
Yeah. I thought that was like the pinnacle. I mean, it was a great book to read, yeah. But you put so much factual history into it. It was kind of hard to get through at points, even though you fictionalized it, just putting the reality of what happened. And then comes along OSS. When I first started it kind of like that old joke when you're watching a sitcom from, a show that you always liked, and a new character comes in, you're all like, oh, who the fuck is this guy? That's kind of how I felt when I started it. Like a lot of your writing, your characters identified with them like really quick. And our main characters, our American agent, that gets wrapped up into this secret little world, I suppose. He was kind of brash at first, but it became very likable. You hit all kinds of supernatural in here. We got demons. We got the devil. We got the devil's right-hand man coming up to make sure things are going right. And then we got the historical figures. We've got Templar in there. We've got
Hydra. And believe it or not, Vonnegut is real. That is not made up. As I'm doing the research on Nazi occultism, it's like, oh my God, it's like, thank you. History wrote this guy for me.
Yeah, you got the worst of the worst in there. And, everybody always loves the fact that it's like, wow, the bad guys were just bad. And the good guys were great, but they would also be bad if they had to. This one is black and white. Yeah. The Nazis are fucking bad. Oh, and, the Allied forces are really struggling to try to stop things keep up.
But you do have that merger, that gray area when you're dealing with the Soviets.
See, they're always the wild card because you can't really trust. It's like they will be your best buddy until you kick the shit out of that guy, and then you're on the chopping block, Yeah. So, it was always really good. If you don't mind, let's just do a jump. Let's go to the book cover. I had always tried to imagine what the book cover was going to look like. Yeah. And that was like the best one. I hadn't even pictured that. And I'm all like, well, kind of caught the characters pretty well.
My cover artist for the book, who is the same cover artist for OSS, is Uwe Jolly. The guy is phenomenal. And he loves working with me because I said to him, all right, I want a succubus as the monster in the book. And I always, like I did with the Shattered World series, I sent him a description from the book of what the succubus looked like, and I said, run with it. And he loves it because it's like, I'll get like, how was this? Hey, that's great. Then like an hour later, hey, I added this to it. Is it good? Yeah, that's even better.
Yeah.
He's phenomenal. I love that book cover.
Well, I remember him from the Shattered World. I'm sorry. I'm old. I can't think of things like that. I remember the artwork for that. I mean, every book cover was great, but I remember that in your newsletter, we would get other drawings every now and again, like the spider creatures out of book 4, I believe.
Yes. Yeah.
And I'm just like, who thinks this stuff up? I mean, I used to be a makeup effects artist. I would come up with stuff, but nothing like that. I'm just like, holy shit.
He takes a simple concept and turns it into this creative work of art. I love working with him.
Yeah, he's great. Yeah, I really like the cover of the book. I can't wait for it to come out. I've already got my pre-order in, and hopefully a million other people do too.
Yes.
I think they're going to love it. One of the biggest things that really stuck out, okay, when you think about World War II and the Nazis, I mean, in real life, in my brain, I'm always thinking it's like, I get where Hitler's coming from, and I get that he had some sick fuckers in the Reich with him. But it's like, the mentality of mass extermination like that, trying to get rid of, an entire people. And then I read OSS, and you came up with the most brilliant reason for this. I mean, it's still horrible, guys. Anybody's watching this, it's horrible, but it made so much sense. You want to tell us what it is, or you want to leave it as a spoiler?
Let's leave it as a spoiler.
Okay.
One thing I do is, as with Operation Majestic, I try to take those unsolved mysteries of history and throw them into the book to give them an explanation. The same with this one. Now, like with the Ghost of Treblinka, I am going to have a scene in the next book where Himmler goes to Auschwitz and witnesses the process. I do this not to exploit the Holocaust, like with Salem Village and the witchcraft trials, with the ghosts of Bethlehem Asylum. I researched the horrors that took place, and I want to make it historically accurate. Yes, I do the plot twists to it, but I want people who read the book to know, oh, this is what happened at the camp. Oh, this is what happened with the Einsatz group. And oh, the last book it's gonna take place in May 1945. Oh, this what it was really like in Hitler's bunker those last few days.
Oh, that's crazy. How many books are you planning for this series?
I don't know. I've got the second one I'm working on now. It's going to be astral projectionists fighting the U-boat war off the American coast.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
See, now you got my interest. U-boats and asshole projection.
It's going to be this astral projection. This woman, Asaria, actually, who's in the first one,
okay,
is going to be doing astral projections, figuring out where the convoys are and or the ships, and sending the U-boats to them.
God, that's so evil.
Yeah, which is going to, but in the reality was the first 6 months of the war, we were losing one ship a day, and it took us like 4 months to finally sink a U-boat. So I'm giving a behind-the-scenes reason to it. And then the last book is going to be just absolutely insane. I've got that one all written out, but I'm thinking of doing one with, seriously, Hitler's werewolves. Except they're going to have to go to Romania to find the werewolves. So I haven't plotted out how many books yet, but there'll definitely be some.
I think you can definitely get 5 or 6 out of this, because I was thinking about it last night. What if Hitler got the Spear of Destiny? What kind of damage could he have done with that? All these different artifacts. What would happen if he actually got a hold of it? And it worked.
And the Spear of Destiny is in the second book.
You're still writing it. I'm already thinking ahead.
I haven't even started writing it. I'm still researching it yet, but it's like I've got it. Problem is I got 12 books running around up here. I've got this one, OSS 2, the World Gone Dark 1, World Gone Dark 2, and I've got the 2 novels, the zombie novels, one that takes place in Disneyland. It's a dead world after all.
Perfect.
Oh, and I've got like one scene where a family fights zombies and It's a Small World ride.
Please let me beta read that one.
Can you imagine fighting the living dead with It's a Small World after all?
You know, that's a nightmare in its own. I mean, I have great memories of a childhood in Disneyland, except for that ride. The song just gets stuck in your head.
And then I've got another one I'm working on. It's like takes place 3 years after the zombie apocalypse. All the zombies are dead, society's rebuilding, but the rats feeding on the zombies become zombies. One of them develops the zombie virus, spreads it to the other rats, and now you've got a population of zombie rats going after the survivors.
And that's a bigger population.
Yes.
That's a much bigger population.
Try to get a headshot on our 1,000 rats coming forward.
Yeah. I mean, what do you do when a mob of them are coming? There's only so much fire you can carry, you know, There's only so many bullets, and those are going to be relatively useless.
Yeah, you can like use a flamethrower on them, but then you're just going to have 1,000 flaming rats coming at you.
Yeah, catching everything on fire.
Yeah.
I vote claymores with pellets.
Yeah.
Well, I'm very excited about the OSS series. I really enjoyed that first one. Like I said, I beta read, so I haven't even read the final version. So I'm like really looking forward to it.
The inspiration from it was I had visited Wavelsburg years ago, and I got to see the whole palace, walked around, see some of the artifacts that were there, and I got to see the room downstairs. I actually even took an illegal picture of it. Photography was banned. One thing they kept on saying was no one knew why there were 12 pedestals around it. It made no sense. And nobody knew why the Schattenseite was in a depression in the center of the room. Nobody ever figured it out. They never found it in any of the files. So that's why I figured, okay, I'm going to come out with the reason why that was built that way. And you'll find out. You find out a little bit in this book, but you'll find out the full thing in the last book.
Find that one fascinating. I've seen shows that with this room in them. It's a very unique type of room. You've got the 12 pedestals. You got the sunken down center part.
Yeah.
And there's really no rhyme or reason for why it's built that way or what it was used for. It wasn't that the Nazis did anything to it. It was that way when they found it, right?
I think they put the pedestals up, but even if they didn't, they preserved the rope. They made it part of the Wavelsburg. I'm not sure. I don't remember off the top of my head if it was preserved by the Nazis or if it was created by the Nazis. But as you said, it's just so weird. Castle is so brilliant. The hall right above it has these beautiful windows. The sun comes shining in. Mm-hmm. Then you go down there and it's dark. It's eerie. You only get the lights coming in from the few windows, the slanted window. Yes.
Now, from what I've learned, I mean, that was built by the Knights Templar.
It might have been. I don't remember offhand, but I give it, and there's no indication what the Nazis were going to use it for, what the Knights Templars were going to use it for. But it's amazing that you mentioned the Knights Templars, because Masons are going to play a major role in this series.
They have to.
They have to, yes.
Before that, my interest has always been Knight Templar, Masons, and I watch a lot of shows, read a lot of stuff, and in some of the theories or even the weird thoughts of what this was. I mean, it's really amazing.
One thing that got me hooked on some of the conspiracy theories and made me think was the Scottish temple they built around, like, I think it was like in the 13th century, had maize on the columns.
Really?
The paintings were maize. Nobody discovered America until Christopher Columbus in 1492. So
that's theory. There's a chance the Vikings were here far before that.
Oh yes, but the Vikings stayed up north. How did the maize get on there? Did the Knights Templars go to the States for some reason, North America? And if they did,
why? Why? And what's their tie-in with Oak Island? So I love that you're tying a lot of that into the OSS series. I think that's brilliant.
The character of Steiner which was Satan's representative. If they're gonna do it, if they say to me, "Who do you want to play that in the movie?" Alexander Skarsgård.
That's like, he was a cool character. He's not in it much, but when he's in it, it's like it's a statement, you know.
No, I mean, I love the scene where like he's talking Hitler down. Hess has always been a fascinating character for me. I'm still convinced Hitler sent him to England. Unlike in the book, Hitler agreed to send him to England. My theory is he was going to meet with members of the royal family, maybe even Edward and, oh God, I can't think of the woman there who he abdicated for, to overthrow Churchill and to make peace with Germany. But of all of the war criminals put on trial, he was the only one to get life in prison. Now, he wasn't there for the Holocaust. He wasn't there for the final solution. You know, he had no part in that. He left England way before all this took place. So, and yet, you know, Donitz and Rader and Speer, who was a major war criminal, all these guys walked after 20 years. Why did they keep Hess to the very end? Why didn't they release this old guy?
Right. It's either by favor, he had something they needed, or he was just smart enough to get himself away from the craziness and still serve his Fuhrer. Yeah, OSS was a hell of a good read. It kept me entertained the entire way. There was no dead spots at all.
Oh, good.
All right, Scott, thank you so much for taking the time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. And again, it's been too long since we've talked. I've been very isolated the past few months. I know that.
Yeah, but you've been busy.
Yes, I've been dealing with a lot of things, but now, starting next week, everything's going to change.
Well, that's awesome. All right, well, I'm going to sign off for the Book Asylum.
All right.
We were with Scott Baker, and we'll see you all later.
All right, take it easy.